Show. Wahalan wasalan. We are off to Morocco, taking a look at Jetman's latest masterpiece. That's right, it's Sasha's Agadir, and it's all coming up right now. Here we go. All right, so we are back once again for another live stream. This is kind of on a roll here. Let's see, here we go. Let's see, let's make sure I can get everything in check here. Yeah, kind of a little bit on a roll. Did a live stream last night with Jordan Goff from Orbix. We took a look at his wonderful Kern Valley. And in that amount of time, I was able to get on a plane, head over to Europe, and then fly down to Morocco so that we could take a look at Agadir from FSDG. Now, for those of you who may not be aware, this is the gentleman that calls himself Jetman, and he's a German developer. He released his first payware offering actually around the same time last year. I believe it was just after Flight SimCon 2016. If I remember correctly, where I was doing the review of his last work, which was, what was the name of that airport? Over there in Egypt. The name escapes me, and it's so crazy that it's escaping me at the moment. But it was a remarkable, really remarkable airport. I had been following the development since he posted the very first screenshot, which was probably 4 years ago or something like that. Really long time ago. And he was one of those mini developers that I like to think I've discovered on FS Developer and sort of brought them into the limelight, you know. There's a lot of talent.
Stabilizer motion.
Thank you, Betty, for that interruption. There's a lot of talent on FS Developer, and the sad thing is that a lot of these developers, they'll announce a project and they'll show off their project, but sadly a lot of these projects never reach fruition. They never get developed into anything. So it's kind of a sad thing because there's so much talent out there, but you know, one of the biggest or one of the most difficult things in any sort of, I guess, product development, especially for flight simulation, is finishing it. It doesn't matter how good your talent is if you can't finish it. And for a lot of those developers, they never finish their projects. It's really kind of sad. And in some cases, it's even aggravating because a lot of the stuff is so good and you hope that it comes true, and then it doesn't. So it's kind of tough. In the case of Sasha the Jetman, I actually had thought that that particular scenery, which name is going to come to me any time now, I actually thought that he was bringing on another vaporware. Boy, that moon is pretty huge, isn't it? But as it turns out, he did join up with the FSDG team. I've got my trim here that's attached to like an eye point thing here. Let's see if we can trim this baby out here.
Stabilizer motion.
I'm not used to having a lady get into the middle of my live streams here.
Stabilizer motion.
Not that that's a bad thing. So yes, and during that live stream, he actually did join us in the chat, and I believe at the time he mentioned that he was simultaneously working on another project. Let's get some power here. What's going on? And so I believe this is the project, of course, that he was working on. Now, as to where he plans to go after this, that's a good question. So far, he does definitely seem to be quite interested in doing these sort of North African vacation destinations, which is really nice. I mentioned that the last time we had a decent airport scenery from Morocco, if memory serves me correctly, was the old Casablanca scenery from Aerosoft, and at the time that was a terrific scenery. And I think for a lot of people, it probably caught a lot of people off guard because there really were no sceneries covering like pretty much any of Africa, anything outside of freeware for FS9 back in those days. In fact, I don't even think that Aerosoft Morocco was even compatible with FSX. Was it? Was it before FSX was released? I can't even remember if that was even an FSX scenery. And I haven't seen that airport scenery in so many years. I don't even know how well it holds up. I do remember whomever the developer was that did that. They did the entire scenery, or the entire city scenery, which was really remarkable. It was a great scenery for its time, and it's definitely something that I would like to see another developer do at some point in the future. I personally think that Sasha here would be a perfect candidate for that, but I guess we'll have to see what the future holds.
Stabilizer motion.
You know, I tried to talk Fly Tampa into coming to the area, but I think they're pretty set on where they're going next. Now that they have canceled the Haneda, which you know, I kind of talked them into that. You know, they're like, what do you think we should do next? And I'm like, hey, you know, Haneda, and they were like, you know, we were kind of eyeballing that, and but as it turns out, another developer, not Wing Creation, but another developer is working on that. So I think Wing Creation was really hoping to, you know, perhaps maybe keep other people out of that airport, but they're going to find that another top-tier developer is working on that. So we are going to get a high-end Haneda. It's just a matter of when. And it's not to say that Wing Creation doesn't develop high-end. I think they do some pretty decent stuff. But when it comes to an airport of that size, I feel like that's a bit out of their scope. But they could prove me wrong, and I certainly hope that they do. We're just kind of coming over the main town here, the township or the city of Agadir, and there's another developer, a third-party developer, that's planning to come in here and develop the city. I don't think they've delivered anything as of yet. I don't think I've seen any releases from them yet. So it'll be interesting to see what they come up with. But as a result of that development team working on the city, Jetman has decided that he would keep the development of this project just to the airport boundaries and allow this other developer to come in and do the city. So unfortunately, they don't. They have missed the airport release to have their product out. So there's really nothing to show for the city other than FTX Global, which obviously covers this area. So anyway, I've been trying to put a bug in a few people's ears too for a decent... Oh crap, I made that turn way too soon. Damn. I thought I was further. I thought I went further out. That's okay. We'll just come in on the other side. Johannesburg. Man, we need someone to deliver Johannesburg. You know, when that African ASDG or whatever, African Scenery Design Group, whatever they called themselves at the time, I had wondered if they were in out of their depth, if they were in over their head. Whenever I see a new developer come on the scene that has never developed anything before, like ever, that does tend to concern me, to be honest. And that was the case with that development team. And when they first started showing off their initial screenshots of their initial renders, I was really hesitant to show anything because it's really kind of dangerous when a developer who's never seemed to ever have done anything. Sorry, it's early in the morning for me still. I've only just woken up. You know, it makes me wonder if they can really, you know, if they should really be starting off on a mega airport and whether or not they'll be able to complete it. Now, I was quite impressed with a lot of the work that they had done up until they went, I guess, defunct. But I can't say that it surprises me that they did. I presume Aerosoft intends to revive the project or get another developer on board with that. I'm not really sure what's going on there, but that was certainly something of a disappointment. When Taxi to Gate came to me after Charles de Gaulle, and they were kind of tapping me for some interesting ideas, I think that was one of the ones that I put in their ears. I think it would have been a good idea for them to do... well, I can't focus with this girl talking. This is Betty here. I thought it would have been an interesting idea for them to do Johannesburg. I think that'd be a great location for Taxi to Gate, but they announced Indianapolis instead, so I think that will, make an equal amount of people happy. A lot of people really want that airport. So they've moved on to Indianapolis, so I don't know what will happen with Johannesburg, which to me, outside of Morocco here, man, I still make that turn too close, but I'm pretty much committed at this point. Other than Casablanca. And then, of course, we have Oriental Sim, which is working on Nairobi, and there's another one. He's doing 2 African airports, the names of which escape me at the moment. All right, so now we're making this really terrible approach now into Agadir. Coming in too high and making that turn a little bit too close, but that's okay. I was hoping to get a nice livery for the TFDI 717. I thought I was registered on the forums. I could have sworn I was, but I couldn't find my password. So I just signed up again, and I was waiting for it to send me the confirmation email, and it like never came. So I'm like, all right, forget it. We'll just go with the default. I'm still too high. There we go.
300.
I guess that'll work.
Minimum.
Oh, land came in a little bit too low, huh? It's actually kind of a fast approach speed there. Looking at
100.
those really nice custom runway lighting here.
40, 30, 20, 10, 5.
And there's our airport there off to the right. Am I going to make this turn off? Don't look like it. Really nicely done on the lighting here. And I thought I'd start today's stream at dusk, because one of the things about this airfield that really impressed me was actually the night lighting. So I thought it would be nice to actually do this at night, or at least at dusk, so we can see those lovely lights. Sorry, I'm not in prepared version 4 yet. I was during the beta, and now I'm no longer, because the beta expired. And I was actually running the beta on one of my old 4 terabyte hard drives, not an SSD. So once that expired, I'm like, I've got to purchase a new SSD. I've got to purchase a couple of new SSDs actually. So my C drive is a 1 terabyte SSD, and that already, I think I've only got like 150 gigabytes left on that. So and I have so many add-ons, and it would be nice to be able to have all my add-ons at once and prepared, which is something that I'm never able to do just because of the limited space I have on my C drive. So yeah, I'm still waiting to get that, and the reason why it's taken me so long to get around to getting that hard drive is I've got other hobbies. I've got other hobbies that you know, that I budget for. So if you were at FlightSimCon 2017, and if you're at FlightSimCon 2016, one of the things you probably noticed about me is my camera had quite a few upgrades, which is one of my side hobbies. Is I do a little bit of video work on the side with the group, and so yeah, I invest quite a bit in my camera equipment. So I think I'm up to $5,000 invested in my camera rig right now. So that's where a lot of my play money has gone as of late. So as a result of that, I haven't really had any play money for Flight Sim. So that's due next month. And so yeah, not that far off, but I'm definitely looking forward to finally getting version 4 installed again. Really excited about that. And now we're just pulling up to this very beautiful terminal. Oh crap, that's like, I'm nowhere near the center line here. Let's go out here. And it's not really a huge scenery, so the stream shouldn't be too long this morning. I'm really trying to find ways to I'm not sure where do I make this turn. Can I just do this here? Oh crap, I thought I pulled the flaps, but I guess I didn't. Oh, there they go. Now, that's kind of a funky angle right there. Let's see if I can fix that a little bit. That'll do. And there we are, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Agadir Al-Masira. Am I pronouncing that correctly? And this is the second release from Jetman Sasha, who is part of the FSDG team, releasing these under the FSDG brand. Oh, and there we go. This is actually dawn, not dusk. That's why the lights have just turned off. Let me just back that up a little bit, huh? Just a little bit. And let's grab Chase Plane. Let's grab Chase Plane and take a little bit of a look around. Just need to speed this up a little bit. Oh, Cape Town as well. Yeah, that's right. Looking at the chat here. Yeah, Cape Town is another one, too. Whoever does Cape Town, though, they really got to, you know, I think the best way to do that airport will definitely be utilizing... Why is it still slow? I thought I just... Oh, you know what? I think that was the wrong button. Sorry. Give me a second here. I'm like, didn't I just do this? There we go, that's better. What the hell was I just talking about? Oh, Cape Town. Yeah, I think whoever does that airport, they definitely have to do that, I forget what you call that 3D, I'm trying to remember what it's called, where instead of using mesh, you use like a three-dimensional object for hills and stuff like that. I think that's something that definitely will have to happen with Cape Town. Just to make sure that when you're at the airport, you can kind of see the Cape really nice and sharp from the airport. But yeah, I think definitely if we ever get a Johannesburg, we definitely got to get a Cape Town too. You know, I agree with that 100%. So just kind of starting around the land side of the airport and taking a look at some of these entrances here and vegetation. In fact, I think the vegetation is somewhat why the scenery got delayed a little bit. I think he wanted to spend time kind of refining his vegetation techniques. And once we bring the sun up a little bit higher, we'll be able to see that definitely a lot clearer. This looks like probably a VIP entrance here. Very nice texturing work done there. And it's so amazing. You have these developers that come on the scene, and maybe they'll start with freeware, and maybe they've been working on freeware for X amount of years, and then they decide for the first time they're going to dabble with payware, and then as time goes on, they get better and better. When I think of Fly Tampa was an interesting one, because when they first came on the scene a billion years ago, I think in 2002, is that when they first released Tampa? I believe Tampa, that was their first release. I believe it was in 2002. And I think that's because at the time, Martin was living in Tampa. Is that what that was? I know with George Grimshaw, I think he started off, if memory serves me correctly, with that first Boston freeware, which was insane for its time. And I think that was released like in 2003 or 2004 or something like that. With that really insane Boston freeware. And George kind of just became a part of sort of the Fly Tampa team, if I'm remembering any of this correctly. I believe that's what happened there. This is kind of offset with this road here. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. But and what was George's first release? Did he re-release Boston, or what was George's first release under Flight Temp? I don't even remember, to be completely honest. But yeah, with some developers, even with Martin, Martin started off with Fly Tampa, or with Tampa, for Fly Tampa, I believe. I can't, I have to ask Martin if he ever developed anything before that. I'm sure he had to have. But yeah, there are some developers that kind of start off small, and it takes some time to kind of hit the big leagues. And like I was just mentioning a while ago, sometimes it is a bit concerning when you see this new development team that sort of appears out of kind of like nowhere, and all of a sudden they're developing a mega airport, and you're just like, I don't know if they'll be able to really pull this off, because probably 90% of the time they don't pull it off, or they are unable to pull it off. So, but then you get talent, just natural sheer talent, where you get a developer that comes on the scene. And Flightbeam is one of them, where they're like, you know what, I'm going to just try my hand at senior development, and right off the bat, it's like, boom, drop the mic. And that's kind of the case here with Sasha, with his first payware release. This was, he had not developed anything, if I remember correctly, remembering the chat from that last stream. I don't think he had ever developed anything prior to that first release under the FSDG brand. And just right off the bat, super talent, amazing stuff. And, that project took so many years to get released. And, my thought process was, maybe it's taking him so long. Wow, I'm getting hungry. Maybe it's taking him so long to develop it because he's still learning his development techniques. But in case in fact, if I remember correctly, he was basically saying the reason why that scenery had taken so long to get developed was because of personal life. Life got in the way, as happens, and that was why it took him so long to develop that scenery. So I thought that was really interesting, that the actual holdup wasn't because he was still trying to, which probably was a little bit of a combination of the two, but the ultimate reason why it took that project so long to get developed was because just of personal life. So once he had gotten, all of that worked out and got back to the project, he was basically full speed ahead to release. There's another building here. Not sure if this is another VIP terminal, perhaps. And we've got the sort of these light shadow reflections here, which is coming off of a sign somewhere. Where is the sign that this is getting reflected? Oh, I guess it's this sign over here, huh? It looks like that one there, like a building logo. And Hakan Bowen, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, says that I see the new Aerosoft Oslo update with Sodi jetways and a new North Pier model. Now, I know that he was working on that for X-Plane. I am not aware that he was doing that as well for Prepared. I know that he was really working on getting all of his current sceneries updated for X-Plane, and of course also updated for Prepared version 4. So if that's for Prepared version 4, then thank you. I definitely got to go check that out, because the work that he had did for X-Plane was really remarkable. Oh my God, that update that he did. So if he did that as well for Prepared, then yeah, I'll definitely take a look. And speaking of which, Joe Erlin, who also came on and did the stream showing off his latest release, which is Trondheim, and that was one airport scenery that I had been bugging for a while. I had been getting on his case for a while with that airport scenery. And the funny thing is so he had told me quite some time back that he was definitely going to be heading back to Trondheim. I think that was before he even released Bergen. I'm like, when are you going back to Trondheim? And he's like, yeah, I'm definitely going to do it. And then, then he went to like Daytona, and I'm like, oh my God, seriously, Daytona? Where did that come from? And then he went off to do the other Caribbean island. Sorry, it's early in the morning, so a lot of names are going to escape me. But his first release Was that was the first Oslo, I think, right? He was another FS developer. No, Trondheim was his first. That's right. Trondheim was his first. That first version of Trondheim, which again, as a first release and a payware release, he totally hit that one out of the park. His first FSX release. That was definitely a very talented work for a first release, and definitely a decent quality scenery for its day as well. So you do get these developers that right off the bat, they do start off with a lot of talent. It doesn't take them years to get there. I'm trying to think what would be an example of a developer where it's taken them a long time to get really good. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Because, you know, a lot of these developers, as I follow them over time, they just get better and better and better. They really focus on increasing their skill. A lot of them, they really look at my streams. I've had so many developers that have told me, oh my gosh, every time you stream one of my products, I bite my fingernails because I don't know what you're going to pull out next, or if it's not something that I did wrong, it's going to be something that I have to do next time to try to get better. And so a lot of developers really watch these things. So. Oh, so that release was for FSX and prepared. Oh, I did not know that. I totally missed that. So thank you for the tip on that. I'll definitely, right after the stream here, I'll definitely get on that. So in the case with Jetman here, and I'm still, that name of that other airport is still escaping me, but yeah, one of the things that he nailed so vehemently in that scenery was the parking lot. He wanted to make sure that those parking lots were top-notch, and definitely looking at Agadir here, definitely there is no exception. The parking lot here is looking fantabulous. I don't know where the hell that word just came from. I swear it's not a part of my vocabulary. And the vegetation as well is really nicely done, as we can see. Definitely capturing the authenticity of the environment here. I don't know if that's Al Mazrah. Maybe that's how you pronounce that. And I know this is, by the way, this is prepared version 4 compatible, and I just bet the night lighting in version 4 look absolutely remarkable. I'm sure it does. I am sure it does. Just a few more weeks ago before I'm in version 4. I still have quite a few more live streams that I'm hoping to get to. So I was got a nice little promotion at work, and by little I mean absolutely huge. Which also means that I have to really work on my time management in running Air Daily X day to day as well. So I'm really excited about that. That's one of the reasons why I haven't been able to get to a lot of the live streams. So that's why I'm really trying to work on my time management. I tend to go to bed really late or early, depending on what you consider late or early. But I tend to wind up in bed around 4 to 5 o'clock in the morning. Oh, I really like how this was done here. Why is this one lit up, but the others over there aren't? That's interesting. So I've been really trying to make it a point to go to bed earlier so I can get up earlier and do these live streams in the morning, because I know for a lot of you, it's probably better to do these streams around this time of day as opposed to when it's like 2 o'clock in the morning for me, which is when I did the live stream earlier this morning. So trying to figure out a way to do that, maybe getting one in before bed and then getting one in when I get up, so that way I can kind of keep on top of these streams. There's a lot of stuff that I really want to kind of show and take a look at for myself. Bilbao was released, which actually would make a nice pairing with this airport as well. And that, of course, is from Orbix. And so that was just released right after I completed last night's stream. So that's definitely on the list as well. Finally, going to get around to, what's that airport? Bellingham from Riddles. I got that installed. Man, that's an impressive scenery. The reason why I'd been holding off on doing that one was because there was definitely some conflicts with the FTX Pacific Northwest. And they released an update which fixes that. There's only one small anomaly, which is so small that it really isn't that big a deal as far as the terrain and the texture blending goes. So that's fine enough now that I'm ready to stream that So I'll be showing that off, if not tonight, then probably again this time tomorrow. So I'm really working on trying to get caught up with these live streams. I know I don't get to write my reviews like I used to. And my reviews tend to be pretty long. I don't do the casual 2-paragraph, 5-screenshot review. When I sit down and do a review, it typically tends to take me a few weeks to put together. And they're pretty long. I don't do the short reviews. My reviews, I feel that reviews should complement the products that are being reviewed. So I know a lot of people like reviews that are kind of short and sweet to the point. My reviews tend to sort of mirror the product that that's being reviewed. So if it's a big product that had a lot of effort and detail that went into it, I like my reviews to be just as much. So I haven't had a lot of time to do reviews, and the crazy thing is I probably have about like 6 reviews in draft status that are like anywhere from 35% to 80% complete, and I just haven't had time to go in and really finish them. So why is there no aircraft here? I think my AI is on, isn't it? Let me see. Let me just make sure. Traffic. Oh, no, they're not. I thought they were. I'm like, there should be some traffic here, right? Nope, that's 100% AI, and there is nothing else on the ground out here. Probably the time of day or the time of week, likely. Let's take a look at the fire station over here. Again, the night lighting here, especially the airfield, and there's an animated bus over there. Especially the airfield and runway lighting, very nice. And this airport really just looks best, I think, at this time of day with that sky. Very nice. And just crossing the runway there with that lovely custom lighting. And just making our way over here to the little firehouse. So it's definitely nice to see this part of the world really get attention, because Africa in general, I think, has a lot of nice destinations to offer. It's just I think it's one of those areas that developers are just afraid to get into, probably because they're concerned if whether or not African sceneries really make a lot of money. And I guess FSDG would be the company to ask. Because they've done a lot of, well, I shouldn't say a lot, but I think they've done, what, 3 or 4 north, I think, like Egyptian airports and stuff. And I do wonder how those airports have fared out over the years in terms of profitability. That is definitely a good question. Because I want to say not too many developers are interested in Africa, but really there are hardly any, with the exception of maybe 2. A lot of good freeware stuff out there. I do remember that there was one really nice freeware. I don't remember where it was. Somewhere on the west coast of Africa. I believe it was in Morocco. It was a really nice freeware. I don't remember the name of it, unfortunately. And I remember really enjoying that scenery in FS9. I would grab my Captain Sim 757 and do flights down there from mainland Europe. And so I haven't looked into much recently what other freeware sceneries are currently available for the African continent. It's a good question. I guess we'll go ahead and bring up the daylight a little bit. Change things around and get a little bit more look at the detail. And here we're getting a look at the vegetation. Which is like almost like a kind of fir trees here. But definitely really nicely captures the feel of the environment. Really nicely done. And there's actually a few buildings here outside of the airport perimeter as well. And you have the Aero Club Royal Agadir. A couple of a few statics in this little hangar as well. Not the best polygony statics, but they will do. Speaking of static aircraft, I feel like there's a competition between Javitsky Design and Flightbeam. Flightbeam, those statics in Minneapolis are freaking amazing. And I know static aircraft have made something of a comeback as of late, just because a lot of people are just not really able to run full AI, but they still want to have you know, a few planes parked at the gate when they land. So you know, as statics, I remember back in the day, statics were terrible. These ugly polygon pixelated looking things were terrible. And so they've definitely gotten a lot better at developing statics. So much so, ooh, I reached the threshold of how far my camera can go, so I won't be able to go look at that little building over there, whatever that is. So statics have gotten better looking than AI now. So and then I was looking at Javitsky's, let me see here, I'm like kind of right at the threshold here. I'm not sure how far I can go. Where's my airplane? My airplane is way back there. And looking at the American 777 at JFK that Javitsky did, and that looks like almost flawless. So in Javitsky, I think they sell their AI models as well, if I'm not mistaken. And here we have the little fuel area. Looks like a logistics building out there. And some homes. It's very interesting seeing these houses, these sort of interesting tract homes situated so closely to the airfield. And there's a lot of buildings out there as well for FTX Global, isn't that? Look at that. A lot of buildings out there. I actually didn't pull this up on Google Earth. Which is something I generally like to do before a live stream, just to get an idea of how closely things match. But as you can see here, this custom road here, this is all just part of the airport itself. So we'll see if that other developer can come in and create the city or recreate the city. We'll see. Hey Chris, how's it going? Me and the family are doing well. Thank you for asking. And again, taking a look at the autogen here as well. Very nice. The ground polygon, everything here is really nicely done as well. And yeah, that's definitely, I think, a VIP terminal there. So if you're an important person, you get this nice little spot here to park your plane. Which is pretty cool. And it looks like there's another one over here as well. This one, which is a little bit smaller. And kind of getting on the ground a little bit here on our knees. Oh, Chris says he bought this for P3 version 4 at night. Looks great. Oh, I imagine it does. I imagine it looks fantastic. You know, P3D in the the lighting is, you know, I'm really curious to see what they will consider implementing next. I think it's going to be really interesting. Very interesting. I've been fortunate to see a little bit of what Dovetail is doing with Flight Sim World, stuff that they haven't really officially announced as yet. And I gotta say, some impressive stuff too with Flight Sim World. Some impressive stuff. I mean, I know a lot of people have already written it off, and you know, it's almost rightfully so, just because their business model is really concerning. And I, you know, I've already said this quite a few times. You know, their business model is really gonna determine heavily the success or failure of that platform. I think that they have, as far as the people working on it, you know, I think they have a good core team of people who are developing for it. I don't question that at all. Nor do I question the passion that these people have. I think it's just really the corporate management that are probably making the decisions, making the calls, and you know, determining how you know, the product will be sold, and what caveats or requirements developers will have to have. Like, I think one of the requirements with Flight Sim World was there can't be any weapons in the game, or was it the appearance of weapons? Or I'm not really sure how all that's going to work. So, but definitely they have a really talented team, and what they're doing with it is definitely impressive. They are doing some things that no one, I think, has really thought of yet. So I think it'll be really interesting to, you know, I don't question in terms of whether or not it can really be an amazing hardcore flight simulator. I don't question that at all. It's just the corporate business practice in terms of, you know, how this platform will be, you know, managed. I guess it's kind of weird to kind of put it all together, but as far as the platform itself, I think it based on some of the things that I've been seeing, it certainly holds a lot of promise. And so it's one of those things where, you know, it's definitely worth looking into. But again, it all comes down to, you know, how it will be managed. So, you know, it's one of those things that we'll just have to see. And, you know, I'd have to imagine that Dovetail is looking at Lockheed Martin and seeing what they're doing, and I'm sure Lockheed Martin is looking at Dovetail and seeing what they're doing. And so, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if on both sides of the spectrum we start to see features start to creep up from either side, mirroring the other, if you will. So I'd probably as much say that Prepared and Dovetail, not to say that they're in competition with each other, but I think there's more, if there is competition anywhere, it would really be between the two of them, as opposed to I think with X-Plane. I'm not really sure if they're really looking at, you know, what X-Plane is doing or not, but again, that's another one of those. I just want to look at the night lighting in this little area here. But yeah, I think it's definitely one of those areas that I need to be looking into in the near future, as well as X-Plane 11. A lot of people have been really getting on my case about that. And not only that, but you know, the thing about X-Plane 11 that has my interest more than anything, even in the platform itself, is some of the aircraft that they have. I look at some of the aircraft they have, and it's like, man, they've got some really impressive aircraft. So I'm more interested in the aircraft rather than anything else. Taking a look at the roof here, I mean, look at that attention to detail. These little, like, I'm not sure if this is like maybe an observation deck up here. There's a lot going on up here. Just looking at the artwork on this, like, little gate or fence here or something. Yeah, this would be like an observation deck. There's a whole deal going on up here. You've got some air conditioning units. Yeah, this would be the entrance and exit here. This is pretty neat. Oops, this nice sort of gazebo walkway here. I don't know what you'd call that. Oh wow, it looks like you can look down through here as well. I didn't notice this earlier. Little courtyard, look at that. Vegetation in there as well, nice. And one of the things I was mentioning in last night's live stream with Jordan Goff of Orbix, you know, was sort of talking about how, you know, the desert has so much to offer. You know, a lot of us, we get used to flying in mainland Europe mostly, which is really kind of lush and green in the spring and summer, and, you know, white and snowy in the winter. And, you know, the same can be said for the PFW and PNW, PFJ regions in Orbix, and so on and so forth. And, you know, but the desert really has a lot of contrast as well. And so it's really nice to really fly around the desert regions, because the deserts can be just as beautiful as the northern regions as well. And certainly here in Egypt, not Egypt, I'm sorry, even with the Egypt sceneries though, yes, and certainly here in Morocco as well, I think it really points that out really perfectly. You really can have really fascinating destinations out in these desert regions. A lot of attention to detail here. Very nicely done. And here you have kind of like a little observation area. We can see our aircraft out there on the ramp, patiently waiting for us. And you've even got these palm trees which kind of come through from the ground as well. A lot of attention to detail, and that's the thing that I really like about Sasha, aka Jetman here, is there's just really a lot of attention to detail. I'm almost reminded a bit of Misha. Got to reach out to Misha. We were talking about him last night in his Santa Barbara scenery. And the reason why I'm reminded of him, just looking at the artworks here on the wall, which is, this is definitely an Arabic style. But then you have a similar Spanish tile style with Santa Barbara, and that was one of the big focal points for Misha to develop, is definitely that Spanish tile and fountains that you see at Santa Barbara. And you can kind of see here too, this fountain here as well. They have this sort of Arabic style tiling here, so really nice attention to detail there. I'm not sure what this is. Is this like some kind of an award thing, or 9001 to 2008? That's going back in time, I think, huh? And definitely loving the building textures here as well. Really nicely done here. Loving the way the shadows and everything falls along the along the scenery. Sorry, my voice is still a little bit cracky. Should probably get some water. Again, fantastic attention to detail here. I almost feel like I'm in Counter-Strike here almost, isn't it? Hey, the Avatar guy does have a gun now. I've never tried that out, but apparently he can fire weapons. Oh, okay. 9001 is a quality control certification. Ah, okay. Thank you. Look at that. I was like 9001, 2008, so I'm assuming 2008 as well is a quality control inspection. Not sure what it denotes. I'm assuming it's a good thing, otherwise they wouldn't put it out there. And here is the arrivals hall, or entrance. I mean, I look at this and I'm just like, man, he's so accurately captured the environment of this airport. This just looks absolutely fascinating. I know a lot of Europeans will really be the ones to purchase this scenery. Because, for example, in the United States, okay, where's the quick place that people go vacation? You know, they go down to Mexico, Central, South America. And for Europeans, you know, it's really a lot closer to come to places like Morocco and Egypt than it is to go to Mexico. So I'm assuming that a lot of European flight simulation enthusiasts will really be buying up this scenery for sure. But man, this just looks incredible. Fascinating work here. Did I just see that tree move? No, I didn't. I thought I did for a minute there. There's a little sign over here as well. It's an ISO standard. Not sure what that means. The only ISO I'm aware of is exposure compensation. And also just quick note as well on the GSC objects. That's your tugs and baggage carts down here. So one of the things that he did promise us was that his second scenery release would come a lot sooner, obviously, than the first release, and he has definitely pulled that off, without a doubt. I'm looking at my stream, and it looks like it's buffering. I hope I'm still... Let me just make sure. Make sure I'm still streaming here. Yes, I am. Okay. So it's not a huge airport, obviously. Kind of short and sweet. But very, very nicely done. Lots of attention to detail, and really just a very well job done capturing the look and feel and environment of this airfield. It's just amazing. And one of the things I've always been, that I've been saying is that look at all these lights down here. This is a nice attention to detail. How all these, you can see these lights down here, and the way that was done to light up the logo here. Nice attention to detail there. So, let's see, constructive feedback. Do I have any? I don't think so. I mean, this airport you really don't need to do internal modeling with. It's not really one of those kind of airports. Where there are windows, they're very small. There are some airports where the glass just really makes the airport. Like Osaka as an example, or Dubai. I think that was one of my big disappointments with the Flight Tampa Dubai, is that they didn't do the internal modeling there, which was something they did in the first version of Dubai. And that was really early 2000, FS 2004, which was something that developers weren't really looking at was, are these two just kind of floating here in the air, these two cargo pallets? You know, that was something that almost nobody was doing back then, was internal modeling. And so the second run of Dubai, you know, I thought would have been great to have that as well, because there's some airports where the glass just really makes the building. You know, the building was designed just like a lot of modern skyscrapers nowadays. You know, the glass is really the focal point of any building, you know, is really the glass. And so when it comes to airports, you know, there are some airports where, yeah, it's just, I think it's absolutely necessary. This is not one of those airports, though. I really couldn't tell you, like, you know, what could be done better with this scenery or differently. I mean, I think it's, for all intents and purposes, I see it as being perfect. It's in a destination that other developers aren't really considering. It's a beautiful airport. The night lighting is really nicely done. The modeling and texturing is just fantastic. It really is. Damn, I can't really think of anything else. I mean, it's a terrific airport. I do think, if I remember correctly in his other scenery, I can't remember if there were animated vehicles in the parking lot or not. I thought there were. I can't really remember. But we do have some airside vehicles. You see there's an animated stair truck there and a bus. That's kind of driving around there, which is nice. The parking lot's really nicely done, as you can see here. In my drone mode, as I like to call it, my aerial drone, using chase plane here, which is just a perfect tool for looking around and surveying sceneries. But look at that building object. I mean, that is fantastic. The modeling there. I mean, look at the symmetry of it as well. I mean, that's the other thing, too. You can see here the sort of square triangular skylights here, and the whole building, you know, just kind of has this whole design here. It's really focused on edges, you know, like squared, triangular, sharp edges here. It's just, you know, fantastic architecture. And United Bill's asking, which airport is this? We are in Morocco. We're looking at Al Mazrah. This is Agadir from Jetman is his name, Sasha. And you can pick this up today. It was just released yesterday from FSDG. So I'm trying to really catch up on my live stream so that we can really try to take a look at these sceneries quickly after they're released. And we'll pull up the night lighting here as kind of a parting shot as well. Pull up that beautiful night lighting. So if you're interested in flying around in Africa or flying down to Africa from Europe, a lot of vacation airlines. I'm sure Ryanair probably flies down here. Probably some of the Spanish airlines probably fly down here as well. Terrific getaway from European getaway destination. And nice to have something on the west coast of Africa as well. A lot of the other European, or not European, but African, or like, for example, Egypt, everything. It's kind of like all either on the north coast or sort of on the eastern side. So it's nice to see something more on the west coast of Africa as well. So, yeah, there's not a whole lot to show other than to say that this is an amazing, fantastic airport. Now, right now, if you go over to... And by the way, this airport scenery is like $17, which, I mean, holy crap. I mean, look at what you're getting for $17. This is amazing. Amazing. So, in your face, what is that developer, FSX Scenery or whatever it is, who's basically releasing these freeware airports for like $20 and all that stuff. I mean, what a ripoff. But look at this. This is just amazing. This is about $17. Now, obviously, if you're in Europe, you got to pay your VAT on top of that. But for the rest of you, $17. I mean, wow. is practically giving this away. So it's nice to see beautiful, talented projects come in well below the $20 mark. As we know, flight simulation is a very expensive hobby to be invested in, and it's nice to see these developers deliver such amazing quality at such affordable prices too. We'll bring it into ultimate nighttime there. Beautiful airport. I can't say this enough. I mean, this whole stream has just been beautiful and nicely done and amazing and talented, and that's really what we're looking at here. So yeah, I don't have any feedback. I guess that's kind of the sad thing. You know, a lot of these developers now they've gotten so good that I'm running out of stuff to to say, but that's not a bad thing. I think, and you know what? I think that's kind of the threshold in terms of where we are in flight simulation now. As Lockheed Martin get further and further into opening up what the possibilities are going to be with Prepared, I think the more developers will start to sort of discover what the next new thing is that they can start implementing and inventing for scenery and aircraft design collectively. And, you know, I hope the same goes for Dovetail as well. You know, I hope that, again, I think a lot of what they're doing is definitely extremely promising. But the third-party developers aren't really, as a whole, they're not really showing a lot of interest. And, again, that concern is in regards to how that platform is going to be managed. And I think if Dovetail just backs off the whole how they plan to manage it and just let it be in the way that Lockheed Martin let it be, then I definitely think the third-party developers will get far more involved with it. So I think Dovetail just needs to change their thinking and let it be. You know, develop a great platform, throw it out there, and let the developers have at it. Let the people have at it. And, you know, I think it can be a very successful platform. So, you know, with that in mind, you know, I think the next big things will come from how developers open up these platforms, how they introduce new types of features for developers to sort of take advantage and capitalize on. And I think that will define, you know, what developers are able to include in their works in the future. So, you know, the latest big thing has been the lighting in Prepared, and you know, I think if they're able to continue working on that, I think there'll be a lot more that developers will be able to include in their sceneries. But as far as this airport goes, I think it's fantastic. I think it's amazing. So a huge just congrats and shout out to Jetman to Sasha for the second release, and I'll have to send him an email and see where he's going to after this. But definitely just fantastic job. It is amazing, and I really love the scenery. So with that said, you can pop on over to FSDG. In fact, let's do this right now. I was getting ready to say at the time, I should say at the time of this stream, and I should say that because obviously this will be up on YouTube for years and people might try to run over there looking for their discount. But at the time of the stream, where is the desktop? At the time of the stream, everything at FSDG right now was 25% off. I'm just going to scroll down here. Click on that source link. So $14.50, so that's about like 17 something dollars, I think, in US. Yeah, look at that. Oh my God, 17 bucks. And if you want to look at the GBP, that's about 13 pounds 5 pence. Yeah, super cheap. So if you right now, if you go to FSDG, there's free stuff here too. I keep forgetting that they have some free stuff. And FSDG's got a lot of great stuff out there. Cape Verde, Tromlin, Orson. This is that what is that? That bridge near Copenhagen. I think originally Copenhagen was going to be released via FSDG, and it became a Fly Tampa scenery, but you can always go in and download and add that bridge there. Or was it already included in Fly Tampa? I don't even know. Anyway, so if you go to FSDG and you see all the products that they have here, they've got a lot of great stuff. Thessaloniki, definitely my favorite. I love Castellarizo. God, I love the approach at that airport. And in fact, at some point, I might actually go back and review and do live streams of some of their older stuff that I never live streamed. Graz is a great one. I definitely streamed that one. Love that airport. You can get all this stuff right now for 25% off by putting in P3D V4 at checkout. Are there 2 pages here? Okay, so these are the other Sharm el Sheikh and is it Jerba? So again, you got a couple of other African continent, northern African sceneries there. Heraclion, there's Greece there for you, halfway down there anyway. I've never actually seen this Ayers Rock scenery, so I definitely have to take a look at that one. Again, Thessaloniki is my FSDG favorite. Nuuk, I did a live stream on that one. You can see these 25% off here, so you can see how these are marked down. In fact, let me just go back to dollar, so you can see just how cheap these sceneries are right now. If you again, while supplies last, but you can pick up, for example, there's Agadir there, 17. That one's the only one that's not on sale because that was just released. Reunion, that's 21 bucks. Marsa Alam, $12. Marsa Alam. This was the other scenery from the same developer as this Agadir here. That's from the same developer. So I definitely recommend Marsa Alam. If you would like a live stream on that one, I did that last year. Definitely check out that live stream. Beautiful airport. Absolutely love it. You've got Seychelles, Graz here. Definitely pick this one up. This is $12 freaking dollars. Graz over there in Austria. Man, great scenery, great scenery. And all the Austrian sceneries are extremely well done. Just Sim did an excellent job of what's the name of that airport? I can't remember the name of it, but you got the Orbix. You've got Orbix with Innsbruck. You've got digital design with. Oh God, like my brain is Mozart. What's the name of that airport? My brain is really not working. I really do apologize. Oh, Jetman is here. He's just showed up just as I'm closing off the stream. I probably should have reached out to you to come on in the stream. I'm doing these things kind of last minute. I'm trying to find when I have free time to do streams, and I'm kind of just jumping in. But yeah, you've got Nuuk here just for 12 bucks. Oh my God. Thessaloniki, that's down to $18, so that's definitely a good one. Castellarizo, I definitely recommend that. So, oh, and Bhutan too. I love this scenery. I did a live stream on this one as well. I did a live stream just about on many of these. So I'll definitely need to go back and do like an FSDG live stream to get to some of these airports that I've never been able to look at. I wrote a very comprehensive review on this one. So I'll have to do a live stream. Oh no, I did live stream this one. I did. I live streamed it and I did a review on that. That's right. Bhutan as well. When I was at my boy Nico's house in New York City, he's got a full 6 DOF simulator in his flat in his penthouse actually, and we were doing the approach here at Bhutan. So I'll definitely have to put that video up. I think I did put it up on Air Daily X of us doing this approach. So that's a terrific scenery as well. So definitely grab Agadir. It's only $17, and while you're there, grab Marsa Alam as well. Only 12 bucks. I mean, these are two sceneries really that, you know, when you put them together, that's like the cost of one Orbix airport right there. You know, so I would grab both of them. You know, definitely grab both. So remember to put P3D V4 in there. Yes, and the it is FSDG Online. I see someone trying to put that link in there. Let me put the link in there for you guys. Sorry, hang on one sec. I gotta go to my other computer here. Sorry. Give me 1 second. There you go. So yeah, definitely head over to FSDG and take advantage of some of these. Take advantage. Yeah, Lens was one of them, and then there was the other one as well from JustSim. Klagenfurt. They did a really good job on Klagenfurt. I was really impressed with their Klagenfurt. Anyway, so heading back over. Yeah, so there it is. Excellent job, well done, Jetman. I know you came in kind of at the last minute, but just to bring you up to speed before I end the stream here, it was basically just mostly just oohs and ahs and on my knees and bowing and worshiping and all of that. So it's just an amazing airport. You've outdone yourself. And only a year in between releases this time around too, which is great. So I guess I'd imagine we'll be looking at the next one, I guess, at some point. This time again next year after Flight SimCon, I presume. So I'm not sure where you're thinking to go next. You've obviously got this whole like Arabic style down to an art. I mean, you really do. You capture it so perfectly well. So a part of me just wants you to kind of stay in this region and continue developing these types of airports. Not only that, but I think it adds such a great contrast to Europe. So, I mean, if you look at the United States, I mean, you've got the Pacific Northwest, but then you have airports like that Jared did with Sedona, you know, that adds that nice contrast to regions that are not all that far away. And so I think in the case of, you know, like Al Mazrah here or your other work, I mean, it really just gives a great contrast to Europe because so many developers focus on Europe. It's got to be Europe, and it's like, yeah, but you know, a lot of these European airports are within an hour's flight or 2 hours flight of each other, but you take 2 hours flight down to Africa and the scenery changes dramatically, and you know, when it's still within the same amount of flying time that, you know, you would typically fly between European airports. So it's almost like this is a part of Europe, just in a way that Las Vegas, you know, is a part of the United States, you know, that gives such a contrast between, say, Vegas and Vancouver. You know what I mean? So it's nice to see a developer really putting not just focus in these areas, but doing it so well and so nicely. So, and Jetman does say the next one will be even earlier than this time next year. So that's definitely something to give us something to look forward to. And again, I hope you stay in this area. I keep kind of hinting that I think you should do Casablanca, but we'll see. Okay, and he's saying that he'll just finish Mauritius, the Mauritius terminals. Oh, that's right. I think you did mention that you're helping out with the Mauritius project, and then you'll start the next project right after that. So I'll be looking forward to seeing Mauritius coming up soon, and your next project after that. So for the most part, this is it, folks. Hope you enjoyed the Tuesday, well, for me anyway, the Tuesday morning live stream. Head over to FSDG and grab this now. Casablanca and Marrakesh. Ooh, I didn't even think about Marrakesh. Casablanca, Marrakesh, Tangier. Top three right there. Perfect. Well, Jetman, you'll stay a bit north for the next airport. So it looks like you are definitely staying in northern Africa. So, yeah, I'm going to go on Google Earth now and start looking at these airports. Absolutely. Sasha, congratulations, a job well done. Once again, you've stumped me. I don't have anything. I don't have anything constructive to say. You've done an excellent job. Job well done, and definitely keep up the great work. I am a huge fan. And, you know, I'm looking forward to seeing whichever one you decide to do. I already know it's going to be absolutely amazing. So definitely keep up the great work. For the rest of you watching, support your developers. Go out and buy this wonderful scenery. It is definitely worth it, especially for the cheap price of $17, which to me is it's a total giveaway. So gonna go ahead and sign off from this one. And make sure you stay tuned, as always, to airdailyx.net for the next live stream, because I'll probably stream again today which would be tomorrow or for tomorrow morning. I'm planning the next stream for tomorrow morning. I haven't figured out which one it's going to be, and I'm not sure if it's going to be the Bellingham or the Bilbao, but definitely stay tuned because, hey, I'm on a roll. See you guys for the next live stream. Take care, everybody.